Let me ask you a question before we start this lesson. Do you like your files? The files that are on your computer? Do you like them? I like my files, and I'd hate to lose them. So, in this lesson, we'll talk about hard drives, what they do, and a little bit about how they work. Now, as you recall from the previous lesson, the hard drive is where your computer stores all your crap. So, how does it actually work? Well, from the side, the hard drive has several different magnetic platters, right? And it looks something like this. And this is not drawn to scale by any means, right? So each one of these little platters, they're very thin. Depending on the size of a hard drive, they're probably about yay big, right? Has a little arm on top and bottom. And from the top, it would look something like this. You have a platter. This is a little thing that holds it in place. And there's a little magnetic arm. So when you read and write data from the hard drive, these platters spin. And as they spin, this little arm moves up and down and reads little bits of data from the hard drives. And these are ones and zeros I'm talking about here. So you can have some appreciation for how fast and how accurate this mechanism has to work for you to be able to watch those videos from your hard drive. Now, what is actually on this platter? Well, good question. I'm glad you asked it. There are these little magnetic fields, and if the computer wants to write a 1, it'll flip, it'll be positive up and then negative down. And if it wants to write a 0, it'll be negative and then plus. Now, if you delete a file and then put a different file on there later, and this has to be overwritten, it'll just flip them, right? And this is what this little magnetic arm does. Now, there are a couple of main things that you should consider when looking at your hard drive. The first one is the capacity, right? So how much data can this hard drive actually hold? And there's a couple of parameters that will define that. Depends on how you actually partition the drive, right? So we're not going to go through all the details of drive partitioning here, but just keep in mind that the capacity of the drive and the usable space that you will get out of that drive will not always be the same. The second thing that I want you to keep in mind is the hard drive speed. So usually the hard drives come in 3 major speeds. You have 5400, 7200, and 15,000. Now, what are these numbers? Good question. I'm glad you asked. This is RPMs. RPM stands for rotations per minute. That is how fast the little drive actually spins for the magnetic arm to read the data. So a 5400K drive is commonly found in laptops and small peripherals that really don't need fast data access. 7200 is commonly found in desktop computers. It's faster than a laptop, but again, it's not as fast as 15,000. Now, 15,000, that's a server type of an array, right? Servers require fast access to data. They need to write data fast to the hard drives, much faster than normal workstations would need to. And so that's why you got some badass fast drives on your servers. Now, one thing to keep in mind too is that when the data is read or written to the hard drive, it's written sequentially, right? So for example, as the drive spins, if all the data is not in the same place, the little magnetic arm would need to wait until that little platter reaches that upper point for the data, right? I hope that kind of makes sense. Anyway, now we have these new solid-state drives. Solid-state drives do not have any moving components inside of them, which is pretty cool, right? You don't have anything that's spinning to break. And also, you're able to access any part of a hard drive at any time. Essentially, they work kind of like a big and fast USB memory stick. Same kind of concept. Anyway, there's a lot more about hard drives. If you're interested in that, I suggest you do a little bit of reading on your own. It's a little outside of this course, but hopefully this has been proven informative for you. Thank you.